Hey, good morning everyone. It's Tractorman 44. Here it is January 13th and they're calling for 57 degrees today. Here I am in the middle of Missouri, eastern central Missouri, and here I'm working in shirt sleeves. Just plumb crazy. But at any rate, had to go up to a neighbor's house the other day and drop a little oak tree. It's about 12 and a half inch diameter that was leaning towards his house. And I thought this would be good to get a couple of 2x6s out of, hopefully, for my trailer deck. We're going to go ahead and fire this thing up. And with a little bit of luck, the missus is going to come out and join me after a little bit. We'll have her saw a little bit too. I've been doing a little bit of thinking about this thing, and you know how you have to elevate the small end of your log and everything, you know, to make a square cut through the center grain. I've come up with an idea that over the course of the winter I'm going to be fabricating and installing on this, and in the spring I'm going to show you how it's going to be, and a very good idea and a good adaptation for anybody's sawmill. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this 90 degrees, and we'll go ahead and take off another square, then we'll go ahead and develop the cant. Now mind you, I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about. I really don't. So I told y'all I was going to talk to Mrs. into coming down and doing my work for me. I found out the problem I was having with the oak was speed. I was going entirely too fast. You'll be fine. Well, I got 4 full 1.5 by 6 1/4 2x6s for the gooseneck trailer, the deck on the gooseneck trailer. So all I got to do is come up with a few more because I've already got about 4.5 foot in width sawed out already, and I need a total of 8 foot in width. These actually turned out to be pretty nice boards. After skimming the bark off of this thing here because it had a little bit of mud on it, that thing's got pretty much of a dog leg in it. I'm going to cut that last several feet off and cut it about 8.5 foot and get me some material out of this in 8.5 foot length. Another load for the sawmill. That's about all this little tractor here is going to want to pick up. That's about the maximum for this little B3030. 17 inch in diameter at the small end and 17 feet long. I think I need a bigger tractor. Well, that was definitely a snootful for that little tractor, let me tell you. We were able to get it up there. A lot of times what you can do is you can carry a lot heavier stuff, even with the back wheels off the ground. But you can carry them with your forks in this position here if you can get your bucket to curl. And you can come over to the edge of a trailer or edge of something like this, and you can actually rest it down on there, and then your hydraulics will have the power to go ahead and dump the bucket. When it dumps the bucket, it'll go ahead and roll that log off of the front. I load logs like that many a times on trailers, way too big a log for the tractor I'm using. This one's been cut for over 3 years. Just been laying in the log pile getting ready for the wood to burn, you know. And there's a lot of people that'll say, oh, well, you know, just let the logs dry in log form, then go ahead and cut them up, split them, and burn them. But I'm here to tell you, there's a great percentage of water that's still in that heartwood. Now, your sapwood, all the stuff around the outside edges, you know, it's going to rot. It's going to deteriorate pretty rapidly. So when you see these slabs, the very first slabs come off, it's going to look like a lot of waste. That's because so much of it is sapwood, and I got to get down past that sapwood with the first cut. We're going to see how well we fare with this one here. I had to break out one of the big boys for this. This is my little fella here. I need the leverage, man. Have to drop these guys down and then make sure the log is centered again. I guess you can tell by how red my face is getting. Wrestling around 17-foot long, chunk of oak is a little bit difficult. I have to have that long cane hook for that leverage. This is where, helper really comes in handy, It just is easier on a circle mill simply because, just everything is different. This continually having to go around back and then those log stops in the back have to continue adjusting the height and all that. That gets a little bit old pretty quick. And I've got to come up with the way a gentleman suggested to me to install a couple of rollers at the very top of those. So whenever I roll over, instead of getting caught on that sharp metal, the roller will let it go ahead and slip on around the corner and drop down. And I'm going to try doing that sometime this winter. And there's a couple of other things too. But at any rate, it's looking pretty good. Just to clarify a point too, because this is decking material for a trailer, I don't care. They can be random widths as long as they're not any less than 6 inches or so. Simply because I've got to span that 8-foot wide deck. Yeah, this is like 8 5/8 inches across. It's going to be 1.5 inches by 8 5/8. That's great because I'm gaining from 5.5 to 8 5/8. So that's 5.5 to 8.5. That's gaining 3 inches every cut. So it's going to get across that deck fairly quickly. And I think I'm on the key to where I was messing up with the sawing the oak before. It's all about the speed of travel through that blade. I'm trying not to crowd it at all. Consequently, it's cutting a little slower, but it's cutting smoother. And so far, I haven't jumped the blade yet. So I'm still contending that was operator error on the ones where I jumping that blade in the oak. Okay guys, I've got a bit of a dilemma here. You saw this, how nasty this log looked whenever I carried it over here. Well, this is entirely for deck boards for my trailer, but the missus happened to come home just about the time I got to this point, and she spotted the pretty grain oak, and she wants me to save this for future woodworking projects. It's like, well, doggone it, if I don't fix the deck on my trailer, I can't haul home any more antique tractors and all that good stuff. So do I want to saw this into 5/4 material, or do I go ahead and use it for deck boards on the trailer? I'm thinking deck boards. I don't know, man. That's some pretty good looking oak. I just may get the missus mad at me. Well guys, that nasty looking log, there was a 17 inch at the small end and 17 feet long, netted me 6 8 3/4 by a full 1.5 inch boards for the deck on that trailer. So that's really good, because that's 16-foot material. Now those 8-footers over there, I can cut them in 4 foot, so 16/4 is going to be 20 for the 20-foot deck. This oak though, it's just actually kind of sad, because take a look. You don't see a blemish on these boards until you get up there all the way to the other end up there. Not necessarily furniture quality, you know, but it's definitely a high quality piece of material. I don't know what it would cost you if you went and bought something this reasonably blemished free in oak, you know, at a supply house, but it's got to be expensive. And like I said, 8 3/4 simply because I don't need dimension material for the deck on that trailer. As long as I make up the full width of that trailer, and whatever width I get out of these logs at the maximum width that I can get it, the better off I am. And it's going to cure for a little while before I install it anyway. There is a very high moisture content in this, so don't let anybody tell you that you can let dead trees stand on end, you know, for a couple of years. Go ahead, cut it, split it, and burn it that year that it's seasoned, because it does not season the same as whenever it's cut, blocked, and split and sitting in the woodshed. You know what? This has been an exceptionally fun afternoon. Did a little bit of straining, but that's okay. I had a good time doing it. This is Tractor Man 44, and I'm out of here, guys.